What's up guys, welcome to the vlog. I'm going to talk you through today's back, chest and bicep session at City Athletix here in downtown LA. So the session started with 3 sets of 8 on barbell incline bench press, and then after the third set I did a drop set. So the weight I used here was just 75 kilos. The first thing for me that drops off usually in a fat loss phase is my bench press strength. So considering I didn't have a spotter today, I just dropped the weight down a little bit, down to 75 kilos, and then after my third set of 8 I stripped the 2 smaller plates and just went back to 60 kilos and did a drop set before I moved on to the second exercise, which was a seated row, a seated cable row with the V-bar. So you're probably wondering what I'm doing here when I'm leaning right back. I just like to lean back before I start my seated row to set my shoulder blades. So I lean right back, make sure my shoulder blades are set in place, and then you can see I lean right forward. So even though I'm leaning forward, most people on a seated row would lean back. The angle here, by leaning forward, what you're doing is increasing the angle of the lat, or increasing the range of movement. So every time the weight comes back out, I'm getting a full stretch on the lat, and then when I pull all the way back in, my shoulders are still in a neutral position. So I'm getting constant tension on the lats throughout the whole rep. Whereas if you're leaning back, you don't get much of a stretch as you come out. And if you try and pull all the way in, you'll most likely get internal rotation of the shoulder. So relaxing the thumb, pulling with the elbows, and on the seated row, it was 3 sets, 12 reps at as heavy a weight as you could possibly go, and then another 8 reps once you've done 12 with a lighter weight. So kind of like a drop set on every single set. Third exercise was meant to be a decline bench press, but this gym didn't have a decline barbell bench press setup, so I just went to the machine press, and it was 3 sets of 12. So the focus here was just constant tension on the pecs, so controlling the weight down, keeping the shoulder blades pushed into the bench behind me. So a great guide as to whether or not you're performing any type of chest press properly is if your shoulder blades are both evenly pushed into the bench. So I'm really digging those in, keeping the elbows slightly down at about 45 degrees, because if they're out at 90, then you're getting a lot of shoulder activation, and that's not what we want on this exercise. Then moved on to the second back exercise, which was meant to be a V-bar pull down, but this bar here that I'm using is amazing. It's one of my favorite bars to use for a lat pull down, so I swapped that in. Now you can see I really wanted to show you guys exactly the cues I go through on a lat pull down to make sure I'm getting as much activation of the lats as possible. So at the top of the rep, I retract my shoulder blades first, so just think about pulling your shoulder blades into your pockets. The thumb is relaxed, hands are relaxed, I'm just pulling with the elbows, so pulling the elbows straight down. Another thing to mention as well is that with my calves, I'm up on my toes, I'm pushing my knees right into the padding, and what that's doing is just locking my lower body in, making sure that I'm not using any lower body involvement to pull the weight down. The next superset was a reverse pec fly and a chest pec fly. I couldn't find any good places to put the camera, so instead I just showed you guys a machine. That was 3 sets of 20 on each, so nice and high volume, relatively low weight, and just squeezing on every single rep. After that, it was time for a bit of accessory bicep work, so we had alternating dumbbell curls first, and that was 3 sets of 10 each side. So just try and twist that little finger out at the top and squeeze the bicep on each rep, and then get a full stretch at the bottom. And then I finished the session off with 4 sets of 15 on cable curls. So trying to be as strict as possible. As you can, if you look at my tricep at the bottom of each rep, I'm flexing the tricep to make sure I'm getting a full stretch of the bicep. Okay, so full range of motion, squeezing at the top, trying to limit any movement from the elbows. The only part of the arm that should move on a tricep extension or a bicep curl, any of that accessory stuff with the bis and tris, is from the elbow down. It's just a hinge movement. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's a little bit of a shorter one, but I wanted to get a commentary in and talk you guys through this session. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you tune in again tomorrow. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Thanks for watching.